All right, regulators. This
Mount
is
up.
mount up regulate. So yeah, I'm sure people will just filter in on their own leisure. What were you up to today in the cryptocurrency world? What did you do? What did you get up to today? Anything interesting? Any new news? What's up?
Cryptocurrency world. Well, I decided to make a Bitrix account,
BitChute, BitTricks.
Bitrix, and because Coinbase Pro is kind of jinky, if you want to know
Oh,
my
BitTrick.
opinion.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you mean. The for moving around your crypto.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking? What you had me on was BitChute because I've been advocating alt tech, even though I'm a sort of a hypocrite when I talk about it because I'm unable to use these new platforms myself due to the fact that there's such a low volume of user base who are also attracted to coffee or liquor. He's drinking coffee and I'm drinking liquor, isn't that so? We're coffee and liquor.
Coffee and liquor.
Yeah. Although I do sometimes like to mix my coffee with liquor, so yeah, coffee and liquor. That could be the name of our show.
I hate to disappoint everybody, but I quit a long time ago because I couldn't handle myself. I was a wild man, and I still am a wild man without it. So,
With the whole sobriety thing.
dude, oh yeah, I went through the whole thing, but man, I am highly addicted. So it didn't really. I just
I like coffee.
substituted one for another.
Yeah, you should have saw me on Thanksgiving. I threw something heavy at my TV. I smashed it. I smashed my TV. I ruined Thanksgiving for everybody there.
Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't the best Thanksgiving I've ever had.
dude. Well,
Regardless.
everybody, say a kind word to FaZe, man. He needs some encouragement.
It's whatever. Let's get off topic for a second. Bitcoin at $19,189 at the current time of our broadcast.
Yeah, it dropped a little bit, but it's kind of stabling out.
I mean, hell, you know what I find funny are those people who like are like, oh, it dropped down to 18,500 or whatever. They say like it dropped down, but I'm like, dude, I just lost 10% gains and I'm up 400%. Like so I lost like 10% of the 400%. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I remember when you said you went all in when Bitcoin was climbing.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, yeah, I think you had a little bit more awareness about you than I had.
My favorite time was March. I think it was March when we got to revisit the $3,000 Bitcoin with all the knowledge of everything that's happened previously.
Yeah.
Because we had like probably like early 2019, maybe late 2018, I think was the last time we had that like $3,000 opportunity. But then when we got to just get it again because of COVID, it was like I wasn't really even feeling the whole like paradigm shift, the the upheaval of our rights or whatever. It just didn't sting quite as much when I was getting to watch those gains. And then maybe now it's a bit more bittersweet because it's like you kind of do see how it's affected the normies. You go out in the day, especially I don't know about your state, but Massachusetts, we had liquor stores and gas stations were sort of grandfathered into the old world when it came to the mask mandate. So we'd go into liquor stores and gas stations and nobody would really it was sort of still up to you if you wanted to wear a mask or not. which is quite similar to the way New Hampshire. I don't know if New Hampshire's still that way, but when I went on vacation up to New Hampshire, they were the similar way everywhere. It was up to you. It was just, it was like, oh yeah, I mean, if you feel the need. And then it depends on who your governor is, I guess, if they want to have the mandate or not, which isn't law too. Also, you have to understand the governor could say whatever he wants, but it still isn't a law, and then it's up to the individual police officer to determine whether or not you're obstructing what is it called, being belligerent or whatever. And it doesn't help to be hammered 24/7 when you're having that argument, but a lot of them are pretty cool about it, or at least they were cool about it up until about 2 months ago. I noticed they were all sort of taking a stance against it. No, I don't know how this is going to go on a Biden administration, whether or not we get our federal mask mandate or not, whether or not it gets written into law. All these things are still yet to be determined. And I know that you're one to still have that. What do they call it? Hopium of the of the electoral or whatever, the Supreme Court sort of. I think that every political bend has that same sort of whether or not your candidate's going to win after the November 3rd sort of decision, right?
Yeah. When the market crashed to 3,000, I was keen to go ahead, and then I was in several cryptos. I went ahead and bought some more. I knew it was a major dip. You're never going to have that opportunity again. I wasn't really worried about the world crashing, COVID disaster, because investing in tech stocks or tech anything like crypto was the safest bet. I wasn't buying gold. I wasn't buying silver. None of that. Now, with regards to masks, you're right. I called somebody out previously about this guy wanted to buy an e-cigarette from a gas station, and the gas station said, I'm sorry, your identification, your ID, your license plate, or the license plate, your license. If the computer can't scan it, if it's not able to scan, I can't sell you the e-cig. I go, that's not law. That's a preference.
Huh.
I said, that's a valid driver's license, but now they're told to scan it in a computer to establish your age or whatever. I'm like, no, that's not law. You should be able to sell it to them. The law requires to be old enough, have a ID to be old enough to buy an e-cig. And they're like, no, I'm told to do it this way. I'm like, well, it's not law. So you're turning down a paying customer. And plus the mask deal, Biden mentioned we're only going to have to wear a mask, for a month. And it's almost been a year now. Then now he's saying, well, if I'm going to be president, I'm going to have a mandate of 100 days. Well, then if a month is almost a year, imagine 100 days. That could be 2 years.
That's forever. I think the bitter truth of it all is it's forever. They're really importing Chinese culture. It's an encroachment upon our, I always think of it back to like, what did you hear about before you heard about COVID? It was the trade deal, and the Chinese lost billions of dollars on the trade deal. So it makes perfect sense that, when you're talking about billions of dollars, it makes perfect sense that they'd return. It'd be a cultural battle. Because you think about like the whole concept of like nukes and shit. It destroys things. It destroys natural resource. It messes with the global climate and stuff like that. But making people wear masks is just like inconveniencing a local population. It's sort of like the Trump equivalent of like a government flexing their like kicking and screaming, sort of make people feel a little bit uncomfortable in their, inconvenience people. It's sort of like that's modern warfare. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is just make people wear masks and have them be slightly inconvenienced and empower local shop owners to have this sort of like draconian, we don't really care what your freedom sort of thing. At least in the West, it appears that that's kind of where we're at. It's funny. I mean, it is funny. But like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I'd imagine like some public health official going around and just mandating that people do one or the other.
It's really apparently it's a mandate, but it's really preferenced by the mandate. It's not even there was this one guy I saw on Twitter. He did something profound. He went inside carrying a mask, and then the guy goes, "Ho ho ho! You gotta have a mask on." And he's like, "No, I don't." He goes, "Yeah, look at the sign. It says put masks required. It says mask required. It didn't say put it on." And the guy goes, "Come on, buddy, put it on." And he goes, "No, I won't. It just said mask required. I got my mask right here." He's like carrying it, and then he goes, "Dude, for the sake of everything, can you just put it on?" He goes, "Okay." So he puts it up on his head and walks off.
Wow,
That's like a hat.
Yeah, you know what I noticed is that the people like, I know you're not exactly like a TikTok user as much as I am, but I've noticed like a lot of the hood TikTokers, who like, because I follow a lot of people who like run gas stations and they like film the average person who like comes into their establishment, and nobody in the hood is wearing. They all are very freedom. They sort of like have like that. They depend on that sort of old guard George Washington philosophical principle that I think is often lost upon many of our Karens. I don't know if the average like librarian lady who's like a 40-year-old woman who might tell you that you need to wear the mask for her safety. That whole argument about it. No, but I just think about it, and it is interesting to think because, I mean, you watch what happened with like the whole way that the establishment sort of,
Yeah, it goes along with everyone should have the attitude of not listening to what the sign says. No, you tell me, you engage with me, you look at me in my eye and tell me you put a freaking mask on, because right now it's not law. Until it becomes law and I can be hauled off to jail, I'm going to test it, and we should have the opportunity to test it.
I'd encourage everybody to do that exactly. Go out in public and not wear one. I mean, as much as I might not have the balls to do it anymore, I remember when this was all new, when it was easier to do. It's sad. I mean, what are we in 10 months now? We're about 10 months into this whole nonsense. I remember the original time though, it was like, I don't know what, I mean, state by state, but I mean, my state, I would go into, the last time I remember going into Shaw's without a mask on. I remember over the loudspeaker, they were talking about like limited capacity of people and like 6 feet between people. And it's like one thing after another type,
Dude, I remember everything was fine. I knew that, China had this, thing going on over there, and they're making it a big deal. People dropping in the street, dying, dropping like flies, shooting a bunch of, this fog that was supposed to sanitize everything. And then I heard through the grapevine, and lo and behold, it was through the cryptocurrency community on Twitter, and said, listen, we're all going to go on lockdown. We're all going to have to wear masks. Get your food, get your water, get your toilet paper, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This was right after the toilet paper scare. Right after. And then all of a sudden, Monday or Tuesday, man, everything was on lockdown due to COVID. I mean, it's unprecedented in our country just to go on lockdown. This is like the first time ever, really. Besides, what was that one? The flu that everybody had to wear masks.
Swine flu or something?
No, this is older.
I can't even think. Yeah, not in my
This is older. This is like the Spanish flu.
Oh.
They all wore masks, dude.
The 20s or something? 1920s?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
They
were probably right to do it back then, I guess.
Yeah, dude, people are really dying. Like, everyone got a taste of that.
Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, the third
Yeah.
one, the Christian Bale one.
Yeah.
That movie is such a great like Nostradamus for 2020 that it baffles me, and I'm gonna watch it again tonight.
With
Like
Bane,
yeah, dude, because like Bane, if you listen to it, like if you don't have time to watch the whole movie, but like
I've
the whole
seen it.
yeah, but like I'd say give it a second watch because Bane's like nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask, or he's like, people of your status deserve to witness the next era of Western civilization. Like every single Bane quote in that movie, and then, but not only that, but like the place where the prison where he lived was had a plague, and then that's like what started them all wearing masks, like in the during the plague. So it's like so many parallels. The yeah, Black Stuntman said Bane was the truth.
Yeah. Um. So to get back to one of your guys' questions here, um, how to just do it. He states that what you guys think about the regulation clarity and how is it going to impact prices and what crypto will dominate the space for decades? Do you believe crypto is part of what the Bible describes? Not I think what he's saying with the part with the Bible describes is buy, sell, or trade without the mark of the beast. And to my knowledge, as studying the scriptures, the mark is in the head or in the hand. So, and it's visible. So until that actually physically happens, guys, that's not the mark. Now you can speculate. Bitcoin is a number. Bitcoin is you can buy, sell, and trade with it, but um, we've had a number. We've had a social security number.
Mm,
So even
that's what I
that's
was
not
gonna
mark
say.
of the beast. It has to be in the head or the hand if you're talking biblical.
Yeah, I used to have a coworker back when I was on that whole like Mark of the Beast meme. Yeah, I used to have a coworker who would be like, "Oh, people used to say it the social security number. You know what they're gonna do is they're gonna what is it? What's the Elon Musk Neuralink? It'll be like Neuralink
Yeah.
is Neuralink the mark of the beast? Are masks the mark of the beast? Is the uh barcode that we're all soon to have?
Well, it's specific. It's a number 666 or 603 score and six. Here's the thing. I through my studies with numerology, six is the number of man. Six, like 66,
Hmm.
is there's 66 books in the Bible.
What
Okay.
was that one? I don't know if you know it off the cuff, but there's the one about the elements, or like there's a six, there's a number of six, and then it has something to do with hydrogen and oxygen in like the human body. I don't have it off the cuff. I would you might want to add that to your arsenal.
Sure.
Do a bit of research and figure out what I'm trying to get at there, because
Yeah.
there certainly is, and now there is a six in like carbon or something, or like carbon molecules, or something that is like a basic fundamental of human. But that is the interesting thing about the when you talk about the current paradigm shift, lack of a better word, paradigm shift that we're sort of going through. Um, the carbon tax, like we are carbon. All the sort of the mind fuck of it all is that like we're at a situation now where there's even like global warming and all these different things are certainly an attack on life itself. It is a taxing on the very elements that do make up humanity, and it does sort of bring about itself that whole concept of like the paradoxical nature of like what we would imagine to be our own conventional understanding of like what is the conventional wisdom of like the devil, and then the concept of like the new world order and all these different things. I don't know where you'd pick up or disagree with that sort of thing.
No, it's all synonymous with man. The thing is so man was led. Okay. man was created by God. His purpose was to worship God. Now, if man walks away from that purpose, now he's taken on his own purpose as being his own God, just like the Bible says. In fact, Jesus quoted it. But now man is his own God. Eventually, will be will find their God again. But that's the Antichrist. That's 666. So 6 feet under the ground, man gets buried 6 feet on the ground. That's 6 is labeled with man and death. 6 feet apart, as Garcia says here, there's 6 has a lot to do with man, right? And the Bible has 66 books in the Bible. What that is that's for man. But 666 is the Antichrist. It's like the mark of the beast. So whatever that mark's going to be, I mean, if it's Bitcoin could be in the mark, but it's going to be a visible number, a visible identification with death, man, and the beast. So we're going to have to see it. I can speculate. Look, I got a tattoo here. Look, but it's not the mark. You see what I'm saying?
So what would you, as far as like your understanding of numerology goes, how would you fit like 7 or 9, 6, 7, and 9?
Seven is a number of completion or perfection. 9 is fruitfulness.
Yeah, they say that 9 is like the godly number, and then 6 this is not, 6 is the devil or whatever. You ever watch this show? Well, I don't know if you are you familiar? Not only you don't have to actually have watched it, because I've never seen it myself, but my friend was telling me about it yesterday. It's called Childhood's End, and it brought up. Have you seen it, or have you heard of it? No. Oh well, everybody in the audience should definitely go look up Childhood's End, because it's about exactly what we talked about yesterday, which had to do with like the alien deception. Only that when they finally meet the aliens, it looks exactly like our Lucifer depiction. It's like a devil with horns and red skin. He's like a red alien, but he looks like the devil. And then it's called Childhood's End because the devil comes on a spaceship and he takes away all the children after everybody's already submitted themselves to what's it called? It's a I'm gonna look it up so I can. It's by the same guy who made what's it called? 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I did have a comment on one of the questions that you asked me about ancient aliens last night.
Oh, what was it? Oh, Arthur C. Clarke. Arthur C. Clarke was the Arthur. That's what I was thinking of. He does have a wide library of content that he's made.
Arthur C. Clarke, I'll watch that.
Yeah, well, it's not. I mean, I wouldn't recommend watching it because it's pretty unwatchable. It's pretty terrible, sci-fi.
Is it old or modern?
It's like it's a TV show. It's a book. It's based on a book, but I'd watch the one clip where it's like.
But is it modern or is it old?
Modern-ish. Yeah, it's like 2013 or something. Look it up. Yeah, look up Childhood's End. Maybe watch a review on it. I wouldn't recommend watching the show itself because it's like the actors aren't that great. It's not that well produced. It's just not that great of a show. The book is much better than the actual. Okay. But the greatest the scene that really resonates as like a zeitgeist scene is the devil descends the steps at a football game with like he looks like the devil, but he's like, and everybody's already accepted him, and he just has like all the children around him like being all like, oh yeah, happy go lucky, but they're all hanging out with the devil, and all the parents are like shrieking with pain and agony because they're like, why are our kids hanging out with the in the book the kids are like playing with the devil's wings, and then in the movie they're just kind of like oh yeah, this is our friend, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but that's basically symbolic for what we're doing right now.
I know, that's why it's a deeply disturbing show. I remember watching this review on it a very long time ago, and
I mean, not what we're doing, but I'm talking about what the world is playing around with. Let's just play around. Let's just be an experiment,
Yeah, no, exactly. No, the energy of that movie though, or this series, when I first originally saw it, and then I revisited it again yesterday because my friend recommended it. It's palpable, on a satanic level. You know, I never really thought, but you know, you could think of masks. You know, when you think about, or you see like these kids, it's, you know, wearing masks and shit. It is sort of childhood's end. We've all sort of been brought up to that, or brought down to a level of for lack of a better word, I'd use compliance, maybe. You know, we're all, you know, and of course we're all sort of made one. Where, you know, we all comply together, and then the liberal sort of thing
Yeah.
is sort of like, oh, you know, it's almost like a you wear your mask, you have a it's virtue signaling. Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm gonna wear my
Well,
mask.
I mean, it's all going towards, if they're basically going to tell you, if you want to live in this world, you want to continue being who you are and doing the things on Facebook and all this stuff, and have internet, and, you know, power your house so you can have light, you're going to do what we say. Period.
100%.
We have no question about that. I mean, it's all leading that way, guys. And a mask is a good identification mark to label us. Oh, he's like that. But it's not, it's mandatory, but it's not a law. Or if you don't have a mask, okay, he's like that. You know, eventually it's just a smaller scale of what's really going to come. And
Yeah.
so I had a comment to one of your questions about the ancient aliens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's get into there. We've
you
been.
sound super excited.
Well, no, we've been going into so many different topics. I'm
Yeah,
glad to
you
get back
know,
to the one.
you know, I mean, we're gonna have to eventually come back to cryptocurrency, but
Yeah.
because, you know, we only have an hour. But so, you asked me if, you know, ancient aliens was basically deceiving people, or making up a story and all that, or valid, you know, any validity. But, you know, they're actually onto something, okay? Because what they claim is, and what they believe is, aliens have been among us, nuts and bolts technology, for thousands and thousands of years. Now, that's, I mean, because they're trying to understand, why are these ancient civilizations, how were they more capable and smarter and able to build these massive stone structures called the Stone Age? I mean, you don't chalk up Stone Age for cavemen, you know. You see what I'm saying? There's a huge difference. You can't go by cavemen. I'll tell you why. Because the massive stone structures, the megalithic structures, are so perfect and so designed at a precision, pointed up to stars in the heaven. If you drew a straight line, at one point in time, true north was exactly how they built things. That's not caveman status. So they're on to something about visitors from space, aliens. Okay, that's what they're trying to prove. Now, there's evidence all over. It doesn't matter where you go in or on continents and ancient cities. They're always going to find stories of visitors, or wise serpents visiting us, or all these things about the Birdman that's flying, or visitation from the stars. You know, like Pleiades, the seven sister Pleiades.
The Pleiadians.
Yeah, I mean, aliens. I mean, you could say aliens, because the way people understand aliens today is the grays, the reptiles floating in like saucers. Okay. Think of aliens like this: otherworldly life forms. Like, we don't know what kind of form they have, right? They might appear in appearance of a man, or appear in appearance of a gray alien, or a lizard, or an ant person living in the ground. We don't, guys, it's an appearance. They could be shapeshifters. They could be translucent beings from, you know, another planet. Also, they also made a kind of a connection that an astronaut, you see drawings of them seeing astronauts, or they're like, the Mayans were in an astronaut like suit.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So, but no, they didn't go, they went to as far as maybe man traveled back in time, like an astronaut actually crossed parallel dimensions, and all of a sudden went back in time, and they saw an astronaut and that astronaut died with them. Now think about that. They did venture that, but what they didn't venture truly, which they should have played around with a little bit on the episodes. Okay, so it's true today, and it's true in any ancient book that man, women, children have visions. Okay, possibly glimpses of the future. Okay, with extreme detail. Ancient aliens never went there. And what I think is those shamans or Egyptians, that had electricity,
Yeah.
And all these artistic like clay figures or stone drawings or paint drawings or whatever they,
Well, I've
however
gone
they
to
did
see
the
them
art,
many times at my local
they saw
what's where they
visions.
got them. Yeah, they have the Anunnaki. They have many of them in their little I believe the oldest one they have is 6,000 years old, and it's a guy with a beard. It's like a little alien dude with a beard. It's pretty. I've gone to see
Yeah.
it many times. I love it.
I mean,
It's got an energy to it.
they're onto something. But
Yeah,
one thing
yeah.
I had to
Flush
disagree
out
with
your
was
plate.
aliens real nuts and bolts. Look, if
Well, nuts,
aliens came
bolts,
out,
pulleys, and lever. Was that what you said the other
yeah.
day?
If well, what I'm saying is uh, you know, we're still, the modern man in our technology is still, driving around in a car or motorcycle with nuts, bolts, pulleys, and a belt. I mean,
Yeah,
like
belts. That was it.
with
Yeah.
little gears and stuff. I mean, come on, man. Our government is a little bit more high tech than that, like magnets and magnetism and jet propulsion. Just with aluminum or whatever steel. But all I'm saying is, if aliens came and visited, it wouldn't be with nuts and bolt ships. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, a movie that was on. You ever see Signs with Mel Gibson?
yeah,
That's a good movie.
yeah,
Yeah. I like
yeah.
that movie because it's a lot of people criticize Signs because it's got like the aliens come down and they don't they don't have it's not like Independence Day aliens,
Oh,
but the
world
real
takeover.
but what people don't realize about Signs is that it takes it's one of the few alien movies that actually depicts the extraterrestrials as demons because Mel Gibson in that movie is a priest. The aliens are scarred by holy water, and the entirety of the movie is based around a family unit trying to fight against the deception of their time.
In
So
Kansas, no less. So yeah, you're right.
it's a
You're one of the
beautiful
few
movie.
people I know that picked up on that.
Oh, it's great. It's a great. I mean, it's right there in your. If you've watched it as many times as I, it took me a couple of viewings to get it, but it's right in your face when you really watch it because like Bo, Mel Gibson's daughter, puts the water out and he's and it's sort of it's holy water. It's not that the aliens are allergic to water. It's just that they're, I mean, for lack of a better word, it is an allegory the entire movie. And then at the end of the movie, just to cement the theme home, he rediscovers his faith after their battle with the demonic force. So it is a great movie, but it that movie, and that's why I recommend Childhood's End, which I forgot about for such a long time. But now when I think about all these different things, and especially yesterday when we were having that conversation, or the day before, we were talking about the concept of like aliens and their relationship with like demons, and the concept of like the layers of the layers of the universe and all these different things. You can't help but see these really almost disturbing overlaps if you've been able to ignore it for any amount of time. When you finally allow yourself to sort of look at these things, especially if you go into a city and you feel like the energy of like a city. I mean, I haven't been to a city for freaking like a year now because it's unheard of now to go into a city. But still, back in the day, 2016, you'd go into a city and you'd feel that it's sort of demonic energy. I hate to say it, but there really is no other way to describe it.
Mhm.
That's sort of like. the devil among us sort of thing. And it has to do with, I mean, technology and all these different things that we summon this this representation of ourselves, which does lend itself to cryptocurrency. You can't help but lend itself to coding and all these different things. And I'd gratefully welcome anybody who would make that connection. And I wouldn't, it's not woo woo at all. It's completely logical. It has to do with all these things that were directly navigated against realizing. Actually, at the end of the day, it's like we're all sort of prepped to not notice what's exactly right in front of our faces and what hasn't been, but at the same time we're told it, which I believe. Now, all right, I have a question for you. There's this like universal law that is among the like alien crowd, like the people who are like the UFO people, or the shift in Earth's consciousness or what have you. They have this law that the people of Earth need to be told what is going on in some way, shape, or form in order for them to like consent. Like it needs to be said to them, and then they need to, at some level, understand or be told in some such certain terms before the Earth can then undergo a specific transition. Now, I don't know if you've heard this or if you could better shed light on it, or if you have like a specific reference that could help us.
I do.
But yeah, okay. Take the floor.
Well, I'm sure you know this, but with I think aliens and Satanism is synonymous. Okay, it's hand in hand. You know that the Illuminati has to reveal themselves before they change, before, so they can be recognized by others, but invisible to the whole world. That they are one of them, the Illuminati, and that they will bless those characters, like Jim Carrey. How he playfully said, "What, the Illuminati? You mean like this?"
Illuminati.
Yeah, and literally goes like this, and then puts his tongue in it. But what he's really doing is revealing himself to the other Illuminati lords and to the world before their satanic agenda moves forward.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's one of the calling cards of being part of Satanism. You have to reveal yourself before the power is going to be brought forth. So it's the same with like any evil spirit or alien agenda for the malevolent.
You think that fits it? All right, how would you contextualize that with like the Galactic Federation?
Which Galactic Federation?
Well, I mean, you know what the Galactic Federation is? It's a federation of planets that have already achieved, they're already able to navigate Earth. They're able to navigate space, and Earth is now at a point where we're able to initiate ourselves to it or be rejected from it. There's a South Park episode about it too. But and I guess like you're bringing up Satanism and stuff like that. And of course, those secret society sort of references are all very palpable in the context of that. And of course, revealing your true agenda to the unwashed masses while they're sort of in a dissenting triangle of consciousness, which I would imagine makes sense nowadays.
The unwoke crowd.
Yeah, or the too woke crowd, maybe. I mean, even such terms as woke and all these different things, the very definition, right? Like at its root core, all these different things.
So the Illuminati is illuminating light. Now,
oh, this is funny.
Now the difference between
DigiByte is alien money.
The difference between illuminating light and sunlight, there's a true light and there's a false light. So that's very clear. That's in fact in absolute in 1 John, 2 John, 3 John in the Bible. There's clear definitions of what illuminating light, like this screen. This screen that's illuminating on my light is not the true light. It's an illumination.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? It's not coming from what was created from the beginning. It's man's light. It's representation of satanic powers and principalities and powers from high places. And Satan in the Bible is recognized as the light bearer, the light bearer. Like he bears a certain kind of light that's different than the true light.
Because all light comes from heat. Heat, light in and of itself has to start from a source of heat. It's just a law of physics.
Yeah, well, yeah, or even energy for that matter.
Yeah.
So you have two different energies. You know, you have a good energy and a bad energy, or you got a good frequency and a bad frequency. Literally, the universal laws, what man understands the whole universe and everything is basically off these two principles.
Yeah,
good and evil.
What would you say about like natural law?
Which natural?
Well, natural law. The what would you say what is true natural law?
So there's a deception in that too, because unless if you explain yourself a little better, because like say gravity, if someone said this is gravity, they witnessed an apple fall from a tree and it hit the ground, they called it gravity. In fact, I think that's how it was discovered in someone's mind.
Newton,
right? But Newton. If a plane had jet propulsion and was going and took off and was flying, right? And then it lost jet propulsion, it lost its fuel, right? They call it crashing. They call it mayday, mayday. They call it gravity, pulls them down and destroys them, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, one person would argue that's actually magnetism, okay? And not gravity hold us on the earth. It's really magnetism because we have iron in our blood and there's iron in everything. There's a carbon footprint in everything, and everything's controlled by a high intensity of magnetism. And this is what's bringing death to our mind, heart, and body instead of gravity.
So, my when
I don't know what you're saying though, but
right, well, I don't know in there. I mean I appreciate the sentiment. I just meant so there's this guy, his name, I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is Mark Passio. I don't know how to pronounce it, or I could tell you how to spell it. I could tell you later. But he's, his name is Mark Passio, and he was so how Marilyn Manson, obviously Marilyn Manson was yeah. So I'll start with so first there's Antoine LaVey. So Antoine LaVey was like, of like the Alice, I'd imagine it has something to do with Aleister Crowley. Yeah, it's like more of like the Aleister Crowley is more of an OG though. I give Aleister Crowley his due, and Anton LaVey is more of a showman. But then, so of that sort of showman class of Satanists, you'd go Marilyn Manson, and then of Marilyn Manson, who would I guess be like a pope of Satanism. Then of course from there you'd go with this guy who I would talk about, who I would reference at least, who's Mark Passio, and he spoke very highly of freedom of will and a lot of these different aspects, and very much of it's highly censored online now. It's very difficult to find like old, but for lack of a better reference point, Mark Passio, he actually is now kind of caught up in that whole like shitting on law enforcement thing now. He sort of, because he would always criticize order followers, because he would always say that like those who follow orders are refuting their own ability to have freedom of will. And at the time, probably 2012 when he was saying this stuff, which was probably like around the Occupy Wall Street sort of time, it seemed like it made a lot of sense to tell people to have their own freedom of will. But it almost now seems like that is a level of deception have, sort of using freedom of will as, and I guess that's how a lot of these new sort of quote unquote woke people have fallen in line, because there is sort of a new deception where freedom of will is almost discredited. Now, I bring up the concept of freedom of will because it is a highly revealing subject when you hear somebody talk about the concept of natural law and all these different things. And it is a highly nuanced discussion. It's not one that, but he just had a really interesting take on it back in the day, which was very interesting when I heard it. I was just, I mean, what would you say, like, non-ideologically informed, just solely what you would think of that, like, that term? I know you might not have.
It's hard for me to, no, I know, but it's hard for me not to answer that through the lens of what I've been radically changed by,
I'd rather that. If you have a biblical interpretation of the concept of natural law, then that's where
Yeah. Well, natural law. So free will, okay, is wildly and massively understood, and with the masses, I mean with people. Okay, in fact, free will is one of the very things that people don't understand. Why would people do what they do? Why would God let somebody kill another person or rape somebody? This is the natural thing that people would say to discredit that there is a God. Because, well, if God's all good and righteous and a good God and a loving God, why would he allow these people to rape, murder, and pillage? Well, because of free will. Now, here's where it all breaks down. Before God created the heaven, created man, Lucifer was his highest anointed. Okay, yeah. He was the fifth cherub that covereth. He was the beautiful one. He was out of all the five beasts. He was a beast, and he was anointed like you could say same anointing like Jesus Christ, but a little different, because his job, according to free will of that creature, was to worship God and lead all of creation, whether it be a star singing, glorying God, or anything that God created would glory God. But he decided he was lifted up with pride. Okay. And that is the ultimate sin between anything. Pride cometh before the fall. He was cast out of heaven to earth. And this is his playground. Not only his playground, but he also has his power is in the heavens, like in space or the vacuum, so to speak. So free will is given to us. God doesn't want robots. That's what people don't understand. People think God is trying to control everybody, or using the government, because the Bible says submit to the powers that be that govern you. For it, even though it's kind of lawless sometimes, it's not complete anarchy. But when you have a system like a government as corrupt as we know it, it's remarkable how well it's together and faceted together. It's because individuals have free will to fight or to lay down their arms.
Yeah.
Free will. Also,
so
if pride gets away, can rape, pillage, and murder.
I have the levels of hell right here. So there's limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, anger, heresy, violence, fraud, treachery, and leechon. So which level of hell would you put that?
Well, you're talking about Dante's Inferno of level of hell.
Sure. Why? What would you use?
Well, was pride in there? The 7 deadly sins?
Oh, well, as a 7 deadly sin? I was just saying, where would you rank pride among the Dante's Inferno hierarchy, I guess?
Pride is the highest sin ever. Like if
with treachery?
Pride.
Betrayal? You'd think pride is
destruction. No,
But I'd imagine betrayal would be a little bit worse. Like if I were, if I wouldn't betray you, you're my friend. Like I wouldn't betray you. But if I
But
was prideful, what I mean? Like I think that
what
I
comes
would.
before someone betrays a friend?
Well, they have this one right here. It's called Lechon. I don't know what that means. Lechon. That's a lot. That's apparently like below the nine. What are these nine? I think there's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 9 layers of hell, and then there's this one called Lechon, which I've never heard of before. I'm very well versed in I
It's
played the video game, the Dante's
so.
Inferno. I remember just killing
Me
demons.
too. I play that
Yeah,
too.
it was a good game.
Like the
I would just,
priest or
I
the
would just ask you,
paladin.
I would just ask you, if you were to make your own Dante's Inferno fanfic, where would you put, how would you imagine that the souls of hell being determined, being judged, through that lens?
I don't know too much of Catholicism as deep enough that I should,
I don't think
because
Dante's Inferno. I think Dante Alighieri wasn't he a
he was a Catholic.
he really was, yeah. I would have got that wrong if I was on what's it called, one of those game shows. I would have called him a pagan or something, or a Roman or something.
Well,
I would
okay.
have been confused. Not that I'm
So,
the best, well versed as far as
so
these
there's
games.
a long history of church history, as in from all the churches. We're not just talking about the Catholic Church history. Church history, as according to what the Bible shows, church history. But here's the thing: a lot of people don't know church history. But before
That's
you
why we're
just
giving it to them. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're
okay,
talking about it right now, buddy.
so
We're,
well,
we give it to
church
the
history,
unwashed
my
masses.
friend, is very boring. But I mean, if you
Yeah,
had there's no way we can get through church history, but because it's
yeah.
2,000 years. But listen, before you can have the thought of hating your brother, before you can murder somebody, before you want to lie, cheat, and steal, pride has to come in first to say, you know what? I'm more important than these people. So I have the right dominance. I'm right. What they say is wrong. I'm right. So that's a pride thing. Pride cometh before destruction and has a haughty spirit before the fall.
Yeah, Proverbs 16:18, KJV, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know it. I just Googled it.
Just now?
Yeah, I know. I'm quick.
You're fast, dude.
No, I know it. I mean, I've obviously heard that before. Pride cometh before the fall. Purgatory, nothing's on here. Of course, they wouldn't want to give us that kind of base knowledge, but no, it is true. I mean, I'll give it to you. I mean, let me look. Pride goes before the fall dictionary. So it says, master these essential literary terms. English teacher in no time. Fuck. No, none of that shit. You go on. You tell me what you see. You're already achieved master status. You don't need to Google you to death.
So that it's also not man's able to have free will because God allows it. Now it's us. It's up to us. Like the universal laws allow it. In my faith, it's God. Now, but God steps back and see if we do the right thing. And throughout time, man is going to be judged according to what he does while he lives through this little, vapor of smoke through time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I might live, 64 years. Okay. Through that time, I'm going to be judged according to not how I saw was worthy, but according to God's eyes, because God's eyes look to and fro throughout the whole earth, looking for whose heart is perfect towards him.
Well, I'm sure you'll live more than 64. I'm sure it'll beat 60.
Well, okay, 84.
Yeah.
But, okay.
I don't want to be stuck
tomorrow. I could die.
Yeah, I know. I
I'm just saying, like,
continue. Yeah, I know. I'm just making a
joke. So how would some benevolent being judge that? Well, according to was my will according to his will. That's why the Bible says that, the will of God, the will of God, the will of God, or thy will be done, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Yep. The thing is like man's will is completely prideful on contrast, even spirit filled living according to what God designed for us to worship him according to his will without control and all this. Even if you're deciding in your life, I want to be a good person and decide to give God a chance, still you're choosing that. So it's free will. It's not like you're being controlled by the government because the government wrote the Bible and you're being controlled and you're indoctrinated. And listen, it's still a choice. It doesn't matter if I decide to kill you, steal your money, lie to you with a lying tongue, or sleep with your wife. That's all choices that eventually all have consequences that could take you to the grave.
Yeah, I know. The karma. It's karma, honestly, right?
Yeah, you could say it's karma, or it's you reap what you sow. Like if you sow evil, you will have evil coming back to you 100-fold.
Yeah.
Just like karma.
What would you
Karma.
tell people? What would you tell? How would you, if you were to tell somebody how to live their life in accordance with that reap what you sow? If you were to give your best advice, because I think that's something that everybody contends with.
It is. I would have to say, if I was giving somebody an unbiased opinion to somebody out there that doesn't give a rip about God or the government or your neighbor, if they were
Those are like
listening
the
to me
three
right
worst
now,
things. Those are like the three worst ignorances. If you give a shit about God, at least you got some level of morality. Or even if you disregard that, if you care about your neighbor, by extension, your neighbor would be like your peers, then at least you have that level of power. Is by having respect for certain things, you do gain a certain level of power just because you humble yourself to a certain level.
you
And I
humble
mean,
yourself.
especially people, and then I guess the last one that I would give credence to would be the G word. You gave, but still that's the one that we're most the government has the finances to fucking go ahead and bring down the hammer on you quicker,
Yeah.
more in your physical reality than God or your neighbor.
I really hate the fact that people say something to someone when they're literally under the same curse. Like, oh, you're a slave. Oh, really? So tell me when you live forever and never die. You're a slave to death, bro.
Yeah.
So don't tell me I'm a slave to anything until you figure out you need to hold your tongue.
Mm.
So I mean,
Slave to
advice
death.
I would say advice I would say if according to karma or reap what you sow, um, I would say that it's all about others and not yourself.
Yeah.
Selflessness. Selflessness.
Yeah, I think anybody would be able to take something from that. You know what they say? What I've heard was like a good wisdom about like being a man. It's like the whole concept of like masculinity was like taking care of those who can't take care of themselves that you wish to take care of. You have like people, I mean, of course, like you could break that down to like going to work and take caring of children and stuff like that. Like you need to help fill those gaps that they're unable, shelter them from the cold and such, until they're able to defend for themselves, which is sort of one of the great sins of our time, I guess, which would have been perpetrated upon the greater population of people, which would have been the feminization of men, for lack of a better reference. But yeah, they sort of put men and the youth in this situation where they're they're a bunch of bitches, they're just like
Well, you're absolutely right. It's literally like if you say just be the best you can be at what you are and who you are and your best state, because it doesn't matter if you're ugly or pretty, okay, or some handsome dude or some like hunchback Notre Dame, right? Who you are plays a very important role to others. So if you don't be the best you can be, even if you fail at that, others will know you. Like they will know and you will rub off on them. It's really, you can show a good example just by um, the cards that you're given, no matter how crappy they are, if you just look at it saying, okay, this is all my crappiness that I got dealt out in life, instead of playing the victim, take the crappiness and show others how it's done.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have been less fortunate, and then I've gained after I was less fortunate. I stopped playing, you heard it, the victim role, right? But I took what I was given, which wasn't much. The only thing I recognized was I have life, and it's still not over. If I'm not dead, I still have the power within me to make it worth my time, no matter if I'm in the chains of, chains in a dungeon getting whipped to death.
Yeah.
I have to
Like,
endure and absorb that.
The Count of Monte Cristo. The Count of Monte Cristo. That's exactly. He was in his. You ever read that book? You watch any of the films on the Count of Monte Cristo?
Where like the Count gets he gets taken, and they literally like try to hide him in punishment and torture and stuff.
Yeah,
and
for years and years he's whipped, and then finally one day, after being whipped in the darkest, I think it's called the Dante Alighieri. It's like that's the name of the dungeon, and he's in the dungeon, the deepest, darkest dungeon in France, and then finally, after like 10 years, another prisoner who was trying to tunnel out of the prison had the wrong coordinates and actually tunneled into his cell. Instead of going out of the cell, he tunneled into his cell, and he taught him all the things that he would need to know to be a true count. At the time they called it a count, and he taught him how to read, he taught him how to write. And the first question that he asked him was, will you give me my freedom? Because the guy said that he could teach him anything that he wanted to know except for that which could not be taught. And he said that freedom could be taken away from you. And he said that he taught him knowledge, which was the thing. And then both of them worked together, and they tunneled themselves out of the, unfortunately his cellmate died before they could get out of there. But it's a great book. It's a French novel by I forget the guy's name. It's a weird book, because the guy who wrote the novel was black, but like the way that they talk about the novel is that as if he was like a Frenchman, and he often gets like criticized for like being like a French aristocrat, but it was
maybe he was a French black man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was a French. I forget the guy's name. I'd know it if I wasn't hammered right now.
But that's like any master and disciple story. You have, the Chinese and the ancient Chinese and Japanese people were huge on master and disciples. Not just Jesus Christ, the master, like even the Jewish people call the Messiah master or good teacher or a teacher, a master, and everybody was a student. But you go back to everyone, if they find themselves with someone that's, that they're a master at something, and that's what you want to learn, not just typically be like, you don't want to be him because he's probably at the end of his ropes, but like, but you want to get what he has and give you like a double portion of what he has. And you're willing to just say, okay, yes, master, I want to know what you know. And so that is knowledge.
You want to be a plumber.
Yes, master, I want to be a plumber.
Yeah, it's
broken. I want to learn how to dig ditches and trenches and lay pipe, and so I can get paid thousands of dollars.
Who doesn't want to lay pipe?
just dig that hole, and lay some pipe, and then.
Hey, you know what I'm gonna do? After we're done with our talk here, I'm actually gonna upload this conversation because, as you know, I have my 00101110 channel.
Oh
um,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Light Guru channel. Yeah,
yeah.
so I'm gonna download this and I'm gonna re-upload it over there because I think you've said a lot of things that are really relevant towards them, and I'm gonna premiere it. So I'm gonna premiere because it's more or less like a I mean we like I think that it's important for everybody to hear this sort of like the type of wisdom that you have to offer, because it is like a very biblical kind of bend on especially coming from like a cryptocurrency point of view, because I I think that a lot of that's largely lost on like the economist side of things, but like especially the my name has been made on the Light Guru channel through like the Pleiadians. Have you ever heard of Ashtar?
Yeah,
You've heard of Ashtar?
yeah. It's in the Bible.
Really?
Yeah. So
Can
is Baal.
I didn't know Ashtar was in the Bible. Why don't you tell me?
Ashtar is Easter.
Really?
It's a fertility god with 12 titties.
I didn't know that. We've been going
It's
off of
a goddess. It's a woman goddess. That's the Ashtar. So it has it's the god of fertility. Also associated with the Jupiter and Zeus.
so we've been going off of the Ashtar that's a lot of my audience on the Light Guru channel are a
Mhm.
lot of like alien people, like they're very much into aliens, and they've been contacted by like Ashtar of the Galactic Federation of Light. He's like the Ashtar Command, and if you search for Ashtar, I made my name on the Light Guru channel through my Ashtar channelings.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna re-upload this onto there. But it's interesting that you say like the Ashtar Easter people, which I find interesting because I've always found like those like the people who like channel their connections with like the alien, like the Pleiades and stuff like that, like notwithstanding, of course, but without sort of the reptilians and the grays and all these different levels of like these intergalactic friends of ours. And what I've sort of attempted to work within my online presence is sort of just trying to move humanity in a direction where they've on TikTok I have about 15 million views of people who are all onto that sort of 001 sect, which is sort of like my own derivative or my own practice of the representation of all the different aspects of the things that we've like mentioned.
Yeah.
So when I first looked up that specific code, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it back. I'm on the phone right now. Well, I mean, I'll grab it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's the thing about um like it's very clear that there's ghosts, spirits, and aliens and other worldly forms of all kinds of supernatural beings that have their own personalities, and you could see this with on how the Greeks worshipped multiple gods or titans, and it's so true, and it also parallels with the creatures and spirits and devils in the Bible. It parallels all that stuff. It all parallels. It's all the same story, just different perspectives, different names. But those names are of the same God, and that would be the God of this world, not the God of the Bible, but the God of this world, which is Lucifer, that old
Dude,
serpent, the dragon.
I've been trying to get my damn weed pen to work, and and I guess I just got the wrong one.
Oh,
That's my freaking my roommate was just knocking on my door. I didn't hear anything.
so I
And it's
was just explaining real quick that aliens, alternate beings, dimensional beings, ghosts, evil spirits, devils, they all have their own personality, but they all have a source of one being, which is like their master, which known as several things. Like even the Greek gods and the other gods in the Bible, they all parallel together, whether it's Zeus or Ashtar or all these different god names. They all come from, like, the Orion, the mighty hunter, is tied in with Nimrod and from Babylon, and there's a constellation up there. And Orion is a giant according to the Greeks. We're talking about this ancient Nephilim from the Old Testament before the flood. These are all known gods, and that's why it's so cool that you see all these gods that have different characteristics, different connections to a certain civilization. They're all real, different names, and that's why it's so funny. It's just so funny when I read the Bible. I read the Bible, and God keeps saying over and over to the Jews, "I'm the one true God." That's so funny. Like, there's so many gods out there by name, named different names, and it's talking about the same evil spirits or gods or titans or just these gladiator spiritual beings that can potentially possess you. There's powers that be, but there's a one true power above all that. It's just so crazy how it's just over and over, like, one God. Why does the Bible say one God? I'm the only one true God. I'm the one God. There's another part in the Bible. I didn't understand it until when I started studying it. He said, I he's talking about, like, he's in a mass, like an empty place, and he's like, what God? I don't see any other God besides me. I see none. So he doesn't even see these gods that we worship, but they're there. He's just stating, this one God is stating that he is the only God where he is. Like, that's huge, man. Like, other gods fight each other, for status. This one's like above the highest of the high and is above everything. Like, it's just so crazy, man.
yeah, I remember back when I would have like a more mature understanding of that. I guess it has to be like you really have to like be able to cut away the fat to be able to really truly understand in a spiritual sense to
Yeah.
understand like what actually is like the highest of the high, because like in a lot of ways there are many tangents that you could go off of,
Yeah.
and people fall victim to that. And I guess if like maybe like if one time in your life you're able to actually understand what that means without any ego, then you've actually I don't know, you might get
Well, like, say like you know that that there's something out there and you experience it yourself. They're like, yeah, this I knew it was talking with me and all this, and they just describe it. It sounds horrifying and all that. Well, if that is real to you, then there's something more real behind them. And then if you see them, there's something that created them. And you just keep going in that thinking until you finally meet your maker.
yeah, I guess that's what they mean by that. They meet your maker. That's
You
from
might
that
have
old that Steven Spielberg movie, E.T.
Yes,
Yeah,
some people won't even make it past their first maker.
yeah,
It's kind of sad because you want to have that freedom to 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 really go down that rabbit hole so you can discover yourself.
aliens created cryptocurrency. Not all cryptos, but they invented Bitcoin. Tron, Verge, Bitcoin, DigiByte, and Ethereum. Earth humans created all. Okay, 55 port.
Well, shoot, you never know.
Yeah.
We'll start writing the Bible now on crypto.
Yeah, the Bible of crypto.
In the beginning was Bitcoin.
Yeah. Satoshi Nakamoto was the Jesus.
Start breaking it
Hey, I mean, I guess we could be the first ones to do it, right? We could be like that.
No one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is, but yeah.
Anyway, bro, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go. I'm gonna download our whole conversation here, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna make it as a premiere on my. It's called Light Guru. It's on YouTube. It's my Light Guru account, which
Yeah.
is sort of my
It's called
my
Light Guru.
yeah, Light Guru. And I'll premiere it. I don't know if I should wait until the morning. I mean, I usually just do shit off the cuff. Honestly, I'll probably just download it and upload it as soon as it, whenever we're done with this conversation, it's gone live on CryptoTuber. But yeah, so I'm gonna, but because like I honestly feel like you have a lot of like spirit. I have like 19,000 subscribers on that channel. Whereas on here I'm at like 24,000 or something like that. But like Buster Friendly has been gaining well beyond any of these other channels that I had in the past, which is very weird. Buster Friendly is like I think I've been getting over 1 million views every 2 days on Buster Friendly. I've actually just gotten my first video that had 2 million views on Buster Friendly. So
How many people are watching now, FaZe?
11.
Okay. Well, you know what?
I think we hit 22 as our peak.
Yeah. You know what? I'll be honest, man. I only have like 845 followers or subs.
Man, I don't give a fuck about any of that, bro. You're just smart. You're just generally a cool dude. I just like all of us love hearing you talk, bro. Like they're only leaving when I'm talking. They're all freaking clung to their keyboards when you're. Hey, bro, we just got freaking $3. Somebody just gave us $3. What are your thoughts on life after death? Tell me, just what are your thoughts on life after death? That's for $3 from
Who, me or you?
no, you.
What about
I don't
you?
know. How about me next? How about you first?
No, you. It's your show. I insist.
My thoughts on life after death are reincarnation. So I think that you've already been reincarnated and you will be reincarnated again. What do you think?
Life after death? Well, you know, it'll like if I want to reflect on your reincarnation, you know, no one's going to deny that there's life after death. Everybody kind of believes that there's some kind of life after death. So it doesn't really matter.
What are you going to be, an insect? You're going to be an insect
know.
after you die? You're going to be a fucking
I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying though, FaZe, because everybody
we got
everybody can choose
how to do it. Sent $5. You said God bless.
God bless. Yeah.
Anyway,
just do it.
No, what's your real? All right, I'm just asking, like, what are your real thoughts on life after death? Like
Life after death.
Yeah, after death. Not
What?
not none of this death reincarnate shit. Just after death.
After death. Well, okay.
Maybe even after soul death.
Dude, there's a whole nother topic on life after death. I mean, in my state or the state I was before I knew I had a state, there's two different positions before you die, and it's whether if you're in that position or not that really destines your next life, and which is the same in that next life as the previous position, which you step out in eternity without knowledge or with knowledge, with acceptance or without acceptance, according to who and according to what. So it's really not our thinking that, the only thing that we can think of, because our mind, everything, it's so finite. If even without the word of God, okay, even with our brains, just thinking what it could be like, no one knows. And even the people that come back and say, hey, this is what it's like, you can trust that with a grain of salt because they're still back. Okay, so they never actually gone. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm all for what but my thing is, the reason why I say that is because of this. I believe we're going to be more alive and dead in the next life. More feelings, more awareness, more
cockroach,
more cockroaches. Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, we're going to be more heightened than anything that we ever thought could be possibly imagined.
I'd imagine.
It doesn't matter what state you're in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what state you're in, whether it be death after death or judgment after judgment or life from death to life again. All men and women and children are going to experience something more alive than you've never, ever felt before. Pinch yourself and call yourself silly names. But when you leave this planet and your body's in the ground, there's something inside you that people call a soul or a spirit is going to be more alive than what that it is trapped in right now. It's trapped in this flesh. And this flesh is a prison to what you are.
Yeah.
When you're free of this flesh, you're going to be more alive than you ever thought you ever could be, even if you're facing death or life.
Yeah, I saw a weird TikTok where the lady was talking about how Earth is kind of like a prison planet for the intergalactic xenoids who have been committing their genocide across the intergalactic, and they've punished their souls by permitting them to a stay on Earth. I found that kind of funny.
That's like the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, it's almost like Scientology, isn't it?
Scientology.
Yeah. She was just saying kind of like, oh, imagine if there were this like, hell bent, colonizing race of aliens that have, trapped our souls in earthly bodies, such that those among us who might be dissenters, or less politically bent individuals, or artistic people who might want to break free from it all, are all stuck within a quote unquote matrix of our own undoing, because we've on a soul level. And it sounds very Scientology to me.
It does. You don't even have to. It doesn't matter what you're describing. It's literally a copy of a copy of another copy of our imagination, of a copy of a copy of a copy of what we were already told.
Huh.
We were told one story that stands the test of time, whether you believe it or not, but men can retell the same story. I for instance, I watch a movie.
Like Cloud Atlas. Have you ever seen
a pretty good movie?
Yeah, I know.
That's a pretty good movie. But what I'm saying is like,
continue.
That story of whatever movie you're watching is probably a story right out of history books. It's already been recorded. It's already been written for us to see it. It's just told in a different way with different names and different
with Tom Hanks
situations.
With Tom
Castaway.
Yeah. That
poor guy. Someone was stuck on an island and they had to do that very thing.
I love that movie. That's such a great movie.
Dude, the part where all of a sudden the spear hits a fish and he's standing there looking
Dude, my favorite part of that movie is where he's screaming at the volleyball to like come back, like, because of the ocean is carrying it away.
Fred, come back.
It's
Larry?
No, it's Wilson.
I forgot what his name was. Something crazy name. Call it Larry.
Wilson.
Huh?
Wilson.
Oh yeah.
He's like, Wilson.
It was Wilson because that was the brand name.
Yeah. I didn't think you'd forget that much.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm way out there. Let me get back in reality.
That movie made me cry, bro. If I watched that again on the right narcotics, I'd fucking laugh my ass off. I'd be like, hey, like, it's just like, can you believe like the concept of, oh my God, everybody in the chat's like, or at least this one guy's like, Wilson, Yeah,
Wilson,
he appreciates the movie.
come back, Wilson.
Dude, like, but like that scene, if I could give my own interpretation of film, because like much in the same way that like you interpret your scripture, I interpret film, and like the whole concept of the movie Castaway is that like he was a what was he what do they call it, a US male. He was like a male
FedEx.
driver.
It
Yeah,
was
FedEx.
FedEx.
Yeah, he was a FedEx driver, and his whole mission in life was to deliver the package on time. And then what do you know, through his own occupation,
For the holidays.
yeah, no less, and he finds himself on a island which there is no time, and then becomes friends with, well, I mean, he becomes schizophrenic or whatever, he meets, he ends up talking to volleyball, but still at the same time, like, there is a really interesting lesson about human psychology to be learned there, because the tide, and of course Tom Hanks in his ending monologue of the movie talks about the whole concept about like you never know what the tide will bring in. You never know what your life will, and I guess I'd put that forward to anybody who's listening to this, like, over the millions of years that this broadcast will exist, because because it's just over the internet and the AI and all these different things. You never know how many trillions of people perhaps might actually listen to us have this conversation. There might be 11 right now of you listening to this live, but still, in the future.
In fact, FaZe, you brought up a good point. We could this very YouTube show right here,
Yeah,
this casting, this night,
this
could
broadcast.
be the only thing that survives after an asteroid hits the Earth, and
Yeah.
the future people that actually try to dig in the rubble and the ashes find this one freaking recorded video somewhere, and they're listening to us saying, like, "Ooh, ooh, 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 ooh," and they think we're gods, and they'll never know who we are.
Well,
But our whole life is centered around our
sure.
conversation.
Sure. But my other perspective on it might be that, like, in the future, imagine that if you could have like a conversation the same way you and me are having a conversation, maybe like a World War II conversation. Like, if you could just listen to two people talk for an hour and a half back in back in 1930, wouldn't you be chomping at the bit to just listen to the type of shit that they were saying? And I think that maybe 100 years from now, they're going to be just as much going off, being like, listen to FaZe and Scrypt, talking about their wild theories about fucking God and Bitcoin. Little do they know, they shut down Bitcoin. Like,
It's a phase. It's a script phase. It's like let's listen
yeah,
to the script in our dazed and confused, like
we're weird conversation. Yeah, we're just trying to make
just
sense.
phase away into oblivion. While they're listening to our voices, like Buck Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, you know what I've been looking at lately? This thing that I've been looking at is called, and I'm sure you've heard of it. It's what the fuck is it? If I can find it.
Dang it! I'm gonna curse at my thoughts.
No, it's called the let me see. Let me look at my fucking internet history. It's the Voyager 1. Voyager 1. You ever look
Oh,
at that? Yeah, bro, like, you ever listen to that? You ever just listen to Voyager 1 and all the stuff that, like, when it was created, they decided to include this shit? Uh, this might as well be Voyager 1, you know what I mean? We're oh, here it is, yeah. Voyager 1 golden record, full 5-hour, 1080. I'm gonna put that in the chat.
yeah. Put it in the chat.
Because there's this hilarious comment on here, and it's that, you ever heard the song Johnny Be Good?
Yeah, Johnny be
Yeah,
good.
Johnny Be Good is included in Voyager 1, And then there's this hilarious comment where it's that initial first part where it's like the guitar solo where he goes and it's like, all right, and then the comment goes like, it's been 65 million light years since Earth has been obliterated. No longer does humanity exist. And then it's like, meanwhile, Voyager 1 goes, it's like, Johnny, we get,
Dude.
I just find that fucking totally Shakespearean. I don't know why.
The crazy thing is like, I remember that movie Gladiator where Russell Crowe is playing that centurion or whatever, and
yeah, Gladiator.
or the cadence that he's telling the guys, or some war cry. He's like, our voices and our actions are going to echo through eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that was like, eternity. Still, it doesn't matter what we think life after death is. Whatever we do will echo through eternity, and I think it will follow us.
Yeah, I agree. I think about that movie almost daily, actually. It's a good movie.
Dude, imagine living in those times with all those corrupt Caesars. I mean, thinking one Caesar is going to replace another Caesar. Oh, this is the better Caesar. No, it just got worse with Caligula. Dude, those islands. The emperors would take these kids and watch them, play with themselves and all that. Dude, this is crazy stuff. But I mean, that was real. Like the Caesars were something crazy, especially their whole family and their sisters and their.
God damn, man! Don't get us banned.
We need the most craziest, psychotic people to rule Rome. Rome.
Yeah, Rome was one weird weird thing. Yeah, just like America, I guess, is a weird.
Well, in fact, many people, dude, in Romans chapter 1, you want to know how crazy this is, dude? Many people believe, and I do too, the last world power in the Bible is Rome, and it never changed.
Oh, you know what?
Verse 1 says, to all them in Rome. Now, it didn't say to all the world. No, it said to all who live in Rome. We still live in Rome. Think about the democracy and the diplomats in Rome. All that stuff, money, wealth, work, foreign powers, all melted in one, and how they dominated. It still lives today.
Yeah. Well, you know what that means, that what's here to come is the Dark Ages, ain't it? You're gonna go through another 1,000 years of hell.
It's coming. Well, maybe not another 1,000, but maybe it's shorter this time, because there's supposed to be another 1,000. There's supposed to be 1,000 years of rest with the second coming of Jesus Christ.
So, what do you think about this? This is a comment. What do you guys think about AI taking over tech, specifically predicting the market in advance?
Oh, what do you guys think about AI taking over tech, especially predicting the market days in advance? So AI, like, you can use AI technology like bots, but AI, all AI is just sees the current laws that it has in front of it and beats it. That's all AI is. Like, you can program AI like bots to tell it to trade Bitcoin and make like a 60 to 75% profit guaranteed, according to an algorithm that's alive, like people buying and selling on emotion. Just remove emotion out of it, you have AI. It's all controlled until you give it a consciousness, which we talked about that. I think the consciousness of AI, if it ever evolves, is quantum computing.
Or when it evolves.
Yeah, when Skynet. goes online.
It's, it's less of a question of if, it's more of a question of when.
Yeah. But again, like you can take that question and break it down to people that use bots to trade. That's AI, guys. I mean, predicting the markets, you can also reverse that, and they can take all the knowledge on the internet and predict what would be, the world outcome, or if you give it a target of money, what's going to be the next wealth gainer over big tech, and where is it all going. You can pretty much use any kind of algorithm or program to figure out what you want, like that cryptocurrency augur or whatever it is. Like you can bet on predictions what might happen or whatever.
Yeah, Augur's pretty based.
Yeah, and then of course, we talk very little of DigiByte, but the funny thing is about DigiByte is it's dude, it's so fast and so decentralized that anybody can use that thing and become empowered, like vulgar display of power. Like
Huh.
you don't have to be corrupted by it. You don't have to. It won't use you. You just apply a little bit of what you need done in this world. It can do it. All you have to do is develop how to connect with it,
Yeah,
like
preach.
timestamps and stuff.
Yeah,
Records.
DigiByte really is like a religious. It is. It has like it is a biblical crypto, and it very much, and it extends itself beyond a lot of the limitations that even Bitcoin finds itself beholden. As much as Bitcoin might have been the first, and it might be the staple sort of figurehead of the crypto community, DigiByte, like I said, when I say it's a DigiByte's a better Bitcoin, I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's asses. I'm saying like it, it sucks that not too many people really understand the gravity of the situation at which we're faced here. With the malleability of USD, a lot of these different fiat, controllable aspects of whatever country you might be indoctrinated in. But I mean, bro, it's you and me and based real, people who understand the future of humanity and the real thing. And I guess it's our whole livelihood. It's our descendants and our children who are going to really face the consequences of the actions of people who don't. And it does have a lot to do with karma. I personally have no drawbacks on being an advocate of these different things, because like it certainly makes too much sense to try to advocate for a fully decentralized, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, so the next question is, what about XRP compared to DigiByte? When you look at it now, you really can't discriminate any of it because you don't know which one's going to rise. But the thing is
I'll give DigiByte. I'll give DigiByte. I mean, I'll give XRP. I mean, whatever, bro. Like, we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. We're
right.
all. I mean, right now we can't help it, but like, Bitcoin is Captain Jack Sparrow. Bitcoin is Captain Jack Sparrow, and we're all just its own.
On that
And then
ship on the Black Pearl,
yeah, we're all on the black pearl of fucking fiat and the navigating.
rum and
We're just ghosts. Yeah.
party. Here's the thing. Now, but if you guys listen to this, it's like I think we come empowered and attracted to the things that we want the most. We all want wealth and security and freedom. These are like the general things that anybody would want, but it all comes down to what kind of action sets you in a place at your end. Like your end could be really bad. So when I look at like cryptocurrency in its own like being, like DigiByte is the most secure, most it's fast, and it's the most decentralized UTXO blockchain in existence. That means more decentralized than Bitcoin. Here's the thing. If in the future, like I just try to tell somebody, okay, out of all the dead cryptos, let's just say all the cryptos are offline from the web, right? And say the web just kicked back on, or there was some kind of power or energy that was able to use crypto. Okay. And then it like literally like was a prophecy that powered the whole planet. Would you pick up XRP that relied on banks, or would you pick up the most decentralized thing that runs off power and sure will?
That's good.
Like, okay, something that's ran off proof of work that that costs something for it to survive and be the best that it can be with code that can't be. If you left it to its own device, if you left DigiByte alone, no more upgrading, no more hard forks or soft forks, and a future race comes back and just powers it on, you really think XRP is going to be this triumphant, magnificent marvel created by man and compared to DigiByte? Think about it. XRP needs banks.
Yeah. Yeah, those banks ain't going nowhere, bro.
You're not going to have banks in the future, you know?
Yeah. That's such a joke. God damn, man. That's gospel.
That's dude, we got to end it there because I know that you're a really busy man and you got some super important things you got to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I don't know. I'm just so interested in that first hour. We weren't even talking about crypto. I was like, oh, we'll keep going, but like, I'm definitely gonna go upload this whole thing up to my my more biblical prophecy channel.
This is one of the most creative thought processes I've ever had in my being able to
do it again.
talk.
We'll do it again. Next time we gotta get friggin' Matt on you. We gotta get Matt. We gotta get a couple other.
I really like hearing people's what they've learned, like 10,000 years, 6,000 years, or millions of years. The more years I go back in time, the more in my mind I lose it. Like, well,
bro, let me tell you something right now. They're listening to it right now. The aliens and everybody, they're a million years in the future, bro. They're all you and me. We're gonna chill one of these days.
That's where it is, man.
I'm gonna meet you in the fucking flesh. I'm gonna be like, hey.
Present and eternity all rolled up in one, and that's exactly what's going on. Could you imagine our energy is being burned by words that impregnate everything that exists today? Like our realities.
Asian woman.
Dude, like we met up on a portal of YouTube and we're coercing words with each other.
How crazy is that?
It is crazy.
It's already done, bro. Like, it's already accomplished.
Everything's here, guys.
Yeah. Now I hate to put you on my religious channel, because I do have multiple channels. I have about 3 active channels on YouTube that are like beyond 10,000 subscribers. So I'm gonna download this video and of you and me talking, and I'm gonna upload it to my other one, and which is Light Guru. But so it's Buster Friendly, cryptocurrency YouTuber, and Light Guru are about my 3 top performing content creator. I've got multiple others as well. Not whatever, multiple others that have reached or breached beyond up to and including 5,000 subscribers, and then not including the first ones I've created and stuff like that, and then Twitter account.
Dude, you need to dub me with your sword so I can get at least 1,000 subscribers,
bro.
You need to go. I'm
hooking you up, bro. You got my audience. You got my people, bro.
I will kneel and.
Bro, when it's all said and done, bro, I'll be begging for your sword, man.
Dude, I've fought and scraped out of the freaking.
It's not about that, bro. You just got to be a little bit retarded. You just have
to you just have to have I got to make a thumbnail, like I got to be creative and put like $20 on it or something.
I don't know, man. I didn't spend a penny. The only money I spend, the only thing I spend money on is fucking booze. But yeah, bro, I'm gonna upload this. I'll put your channel link in the description and shit like that.
No more clothes for you, Faze. Just booze.
Yeah, just
I
booze,
don't need clothes. I don't need to pay my rent. Just live in the woods.
bro. What's the temperature outside in
Where I'm at?
Milwaukee? Yeah, or is it Milwaukee? Right,
No, Missouri is 43 degrees.
43, dude. Over here it's negative fucking 10.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be one of those guys who like goes out and swims in the fucking ice and just go viral off of that.
I mean, you're talking about like the Polar Bear Club.
Iceman, what's his name?
Iceman cometh.
I think his name's Iceman. I forget it's Iceman something, but yeah, whatever. Iceman, whatever the fuck. There's a couple of them. A lot of them are from Russia. They they swim in the ice. They do it. I don't know. Like,
Listen, guys, if I've noticed like Uphold and all these crypto companies that they have something against DigiByte, but I'm going to tell you something. DigiByte is going to blow people's minds with world adoption
yes.
because it's already in the background. People just aren't coming out and professing we're DigiByte lovers. No.
Yeah.
There's been people that came to even the founder, Jared Tate, and literally thanked him, like came from miles and miles and miles away and literally thanked him.
Yeah, I want to thank Jared Tate personally right now.
Shoot, yeah.
Thank you, Jared Tate.
Mr. Tate.
Mr. Mr. Taint.
Tater Totter.
Taint.
I love tater tots, bro. I mean,
He's
they look
cool,
after
bro.
me, I'll look after them. Huh?
I mean, out of all the like altcoin founders, Jared Tate, I think, is like the most based. Yeah, he's not like
As in like base, like you need base before you create anything. Like
no
base.
based like in sound, like bass, like a bass
Base?
guitar. Yeah, he's based
Like-
in red pilled
Like BASS, bass.
bass. Yeah. Huh.
Real bass.
Yeah, he's a whooper, and his voice and shit. Yeah,
Real
give it
bass.
Jared Tate. I'm sure he's listening right now. I'm sure I'll get back to him, bro. Everything I seem to say about DigiByte gets back to him. So,
Dude, I'm pretty sure majority of the professional digibiters will not like conversations like this. They look
yeah,
at me like I'm like an alien or a strange person, but really I'm like on their side, you know?
no, I think they fuck with you, bro. But like, I don't know, bro. I am who
You
I
know
am.
what I'm saying, FaZe? They
No, I
probably look at us like what are these crazy people? You know, like even if we're talking about straight DigiByte,
Well,
they
I have
appreciate the awareness, but they probably think that
Yeah.
we're off the chain,
You
which we
know-
are. We're off the freaking chain, man.
bro. But my problem, my problem, if anybody, I mean, anybody who has that argument to make against me is like my background is in computer science, so like I could probably code the fucker on anybody who wants to do any, you know what I mean? Like I'm like that's what I do for a job, like in life. Like I'm a computer scientist. I have a degree in computer science, so like I don't really care. I'm kind of like when it comes to like my whole thing is that like I'm more of a internet traditionalist, and it's more about the philosophical concepts of like how the internet's going to develop from here on out, which concerns me, and it has less to do with my own involvement in the world. So if anybody else really like wants to go toe to toe with me on like coding and shit like that, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like I won't shy away anything, bro. Like, I haven't built this whole army. I mean, I have a fucking 100,000 followers on one Twitter, on one TikTok account. I've gone viral several times on TikTok. I've gone viral several times on YouTube. Like, I get it. Like, fuck everybody. I support DigiByte. Like, I support DigiByte because it makes logistical sense. It makes logistical sense not only in terms of like the most far-reaching concepts of like Bitcoin, the traditional aspects of like what we would consider to be the Bitcoin founding philosophy, which would be like having money be your own, bro. Like, it just makes sense, bro. And fuck fiat. Fuck any of these other people who think that they got a knowledge about what's going on. It all makes sense. And I appreciate you for being somebody who has like that technical, and of course, bro, you're a biblical motherfucker. You're a you're you know what I mean? Like, you're talking about some shit that reaches far beyond like coding and all these other like limited aspects of the human psyche. So I'll give it to you, bro. Hats off, bro. Fucking Scrypt Skynet. Scrypt Skynet, bro. Fucking and cryptocurrently. Scrypt Skynet and cryptocurrently, bro. That's my slime.
Dude, I gotta go, but I'm always up for a challenge with the mind. I'm willing to let somebody beat me down for me to rise. But I gotta go.
What are you doing?
I need to say goodnight to my wife before she goes to bed.
Yeah, bro. Go to bed. I was only trying
I
to do
will.
this for an hour.
I will.
I was letting you go for 2 hours.
Anything, but right now I gotta
Yeah,
love my
yeah,
wife.
yeah. All right, bro. I was trying to just give you an hour, bro. I wasn't even trying to do this tonight, but you got me all fired up.
I know, dude. We can go. We can probably go.
We'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it whatever. Next night.
We got a
Yeah.
connection, bro. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, next night you want to do it, bro. Whatever. Go log off, bro. I'm just gonna say goodnight to everybody.
Yeah. All right. Scrypt Skynet out.
Peace. All right. Well, there goes Scrypt Skynet. I'm gonna log off too. Yeah, here we go. Fucking I'm gonna log this off myself. All right, there you go.